Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the afternoon unboxing ring. Today, I'm Hans Tielmann, and I am going to be unboxing one of my favorite hand tool products, the LogOX 4-in-1 multi-tool. This is a product that I found to be very useful in doing the type of work that we do. You can't really compare it to some of the larger versions of itself because it is its own entity in terms of this product can fold up, go in this bag, and I keep this under the seat in my truck all the time. When we're dealing with storm work, I always have a chainsaw. I always have this in my truck. If I were to have to come across a tree down in a road, I'm able to comfortably feel that I can leverage it, cut it, and move it out of the way so that I can continue on to get where I'm going if need be. Like I said, this thing is a very powerful leverage tool that you can have with you, and it takes up very little room. So what I just did there was I assembled the timberjack stand. That is pretty much it in terms of assembling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the timberjack off and show you some of the different features of how this multi-tool works. So the first tool I'm going to show you is the cant hook extension. So what you can do is if you do have a smaller piece of wood that you had to roll and cut, you can actually leverage it like this with the multi-tool itself. But if you were using something bigger and you needed a little bit more leverage, you add this extension, which actually turns this into a 38-inch cant hook. And with that, once you add the pin, you now have a little bit more leverage than you had before. And there's times when I've been able to move some pretty big pieces of wood with this. Like I said, this isn't going to be like your 5-foot PV or your 5-foot cant hook, but having something like this available in your vehicle is so crucial when we're doing storm work, okay? So now if you guys know that when you're cutting up wood on the ground, the last thing you want to do is you want to put your saw in the dirt, right? So I've used this to leverage the pieces that I'm working with and actually getting it off the ground using this timberjack feature. So again, I would go onto my log or my fallen tree, and I'm able to elevate that piece now and make the necessary cuts, the necessary undercuts to buck that up into firewood or be able to access underneath those pieces of wood. All right, so that's the feature of the timberjack. You have to understand that this tool is great. Like I said, I use it for the arborist industry, but if you're in the firewood business, if you're one of those people that likes to live off the grid and you want minimal tools with the most output, get the most use out of it, this is it. So now that we have our said wood bucked up, what are you going to do with those rounds? So now I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show you the coolest part of this tool, which is the actual hauler itself. Who likes stacking firewood rounds? Because you get those customers who are like, oh yeah, by the way, can we keep the wood? Can you cut it up and stack it and move it for us? Like, sure. But your back isn't really going to agree with you on that. I'm a crane instructor, and one of the principles of picking up any object is always making sure that you have the most capacity out of the tools that you're using, okay? And the best way to explain that is that the center of the lift or the center of your strong point is always going to be over the center of the load's gravity, okay, or the center of the weight. So for that, I'm able to have almost an extension of my arm and be able to lift and pick up wood and either put it into the truck, into a bed of a truck, or put it onto a wood splitter, okay? And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. Like I said, like I'll have wood and I'll move it across the yard, and then all you have to do is kind of dump it. I've had this for about 18 months and I've abused the hell out of it, and I tell you, I can't break it. All right, I've leveraged and pulled and twisted this thing beyond what it's supposed to be used for, but it is seriously one of the most overbuilt small hand tools I've ever used. Another great feature of it is for dragging. You can actually use it to drag brush. So if you had a long piece of brush that you want to drag out, you can actually drag it out with this. Okay. And if you are, like I said, if you are in that firewood splitting business, if you are running the machine and you have all your wood next to you, you can actually holster this on your belt, and while you're splitting, you don't have to worry about putting this down. You can keep it right there, and as you're working, you can pick up pieces, put them right on your splitter, and not ever have to bend over. Okay, really saving your back end, really using the tool, letting the tool do the work. The final feature of this multi-tool is going to be the picaroon. So this piece would go into here, and then you're able to actually grab smaller pieces of split wood. Or what I like to do is actually I like to use it in the back of a truck if I can't reach something, like a piece of firewood that's all the way in the back. I don't have to dump the bed to actually, or climb into the bed. I can just freaking nail it. You can fold all this up, put this all back in its bag. And like I said, what I do is I literally just keep this under the back seat in my truck. It's got these really nice big straps. Like I was mentioning before, you can actually throw it on your back. Which frees up your hands to carry other things like chainsaws. Okay, if you had to go into the woods and actually do some work. Like I said, as you pick this up, the way that you hold it, the piece stays clear from your legs. The way that it leverages itself to kind of keep the weight out just a little bit. You're able to lift it up without actually having to bend over to pick something up over and over and over again. So you, like I said, you just with little to no effort. Any other questions? Well, thank you, everybody.